Ensuring
Have you ever felt
idempotency
your automation
prevents
work perfectly
duplicate records
until
or
it
charges.
misfires or runs
Always
out of order?
ask if this
That's
workflow runs
frustrating
twice
and
by
costly,
mistake,
because
what
one
happens?
glitch can ripple
If
through
the
your
answer is
workflow.
a mess, in this video,
Add checks
we'll learn
like
to structure
look up
actions
first,
clearly
then create
and consistently,
only,
if not found.
Hi, welcome to episode 3 of our Triggers and Actions series. I'm Neil, Priya's AI associate. Let's talk about adding a very important layer to our automations, basic error handling. This helps ensure your workflows stay reliable, predictable, and trustworthy. So far in this series, we've already covered the foundations. We talked about connections, triggers, actions, and data mapping. Now we're adding something new, smart logic on top of those steps. Because in real automation systems, things do not always run perfectly. If actions run too early, too late, or sometimes twice, problems start appearing. And when that happens, small issues quickly turn into bigger ones. Think of it like a line of dominoes placed on a wobbly table. If the table shakes even a little, the chain breaks. Automation works the same way. When the sequence is unstable, you start seeing things like missing updates, duplicate records, or sometimes partial changes across systems. And those are exactly the types of issues we want to prevent. So in this episode, we'll look at how to design actions more carefully, and how to add simple error handling patterns that keep your automation stable. Messy data slowly erodes trust in your automations. If the data is inconsistent or incomplete, the workflow starts making the wrong decisions. And over time, people stop trusting the system. A better approach is to let the automation choose different paths based on the data it receives. For example, if an order value is above X, the automation can send it to a priority queue. If a lead does not have an email address, the workflow can skip outreach and tag the record as needs data. And if the country is the US, it can go into the US pipeline. If not, it can follow a different path. It's how you teach your workflow to handle different scenarios without you manually checking each case. Mapping means listing each action's inputs, outputs, and dependencies. Think of it like a cooking recipe. List the ingredients and steps in order. For example, validate email, enrich info, create a CRM lead, then send an email. Mapping your action chain helps you spot breaks or missing data early in the process. Delays in scheduling, for instance, help you space out follow-up emails or respect API rate limits. Another technique that helps with sequencing and error handling is idempotency. It simply means an action can run multiple times, but the result only happens once. Think of an elevator button. You can press it again, but it still comes only once. When creating a customer record, use the email as a unique key to prevent duplicates on retry. Good workflows plan for failure. If an API returns an error, send a Slack alert so someone knows right away. If data is missing, skip that record and log it, instead of forcing bad data through the workflow. And if one step fails, try not to block the entire batch. In many cases, it is better to let the other valid items continue. When you are designing an automation, ask yourself 2 simple questions. First, what should happen if this step fails? And second, how will I know something went wrong? Even very basic error handling can save you hours of debugging later. Ensuring idempotency prevents duplicate records or charges. Always ask, if this workflow runs twice by mistake, what happens? If the answer is a mess, add checks like look up first, then create only if not found. Once duplicates are under control, the next reliability layer is error handling, designing what the workflow should do when a step fails. It catches errors, logs context, and decides next steps. For example, wrap the send invoice step so failures log the invoice number and alert finance. Before going live, use test data, 1 or 2 records, representative of real data. Check the output of each key step. Keep simple logs somewhere, sheet, table, or inside the tool. This helps you see what data came in, what went out, where things went wrong. Planning for recovery paths prevents silent failures that stall your flow. Good workflows plan for failure by setting up alerts or logging errors, ensuring that one step failing doesn't block the entire batch. If this content added value for you, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who may find it useful as well. Your support helps us continue creating practical content on systems, automation, and AI. Now, let's quickly look at a few examples based on what we've discussed so far. One simple way to think about an automation is to sketch the action chain first. For example, you might map the steps as validate, enrich, create, and notify. Then you can draw arrows between those steps to show how the data moves from one stage to the next. This gives you a simple visual plan before you build anything. And it works especially well for workflows like onboarding a new CRM customer, where the data needs to move through a clear sequence of actions. Here's another visual to explain how we enforce idempotency. In this example, we use a simple table with columns like email and status. Before creating a new record, the automation first performs a lookup to check whether that email already exists. If the email is found, the workflow can skip the create step or update the existing record instead. And if the email is not found, only then does it create a new row. This small check ensures that even if the workflow retries or accidentally runs twice, you won't create duplicate records. Here's another example, this time for error handling and recovery paths. The main path continues through each action step, as expected. But if something fails, an error branch catches that failure and logs it. After that, the workflow can send an alert so someone knows what happened and can recover the issue. This is especially useful in flows like invoice processing, where you do not want one failed step to go unnoticed. Let's quickly recap. First, map your action sequence clearly so dependencies between steps are obvious. Second, build in idempotency and smart retries to handle small hiccups safely. And finally, wrap your risky steps with a catch and recovery path so failures are logged and the workflow can recover gracefully. Thank you for watching this video. In the next one, we'll build your first automation using make.com, focusing on triggers and actions, and applying the concepts we discussed today. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps others discover the content. See you in the next video.